Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. Along with my wife Amanda, we investigate everything paranormal in nature. So, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about kid spirits. And I'm actually going to do this as I'm driving home. I am hands-free. My hands are on the wheel. I am safe. What you're seeing is the light. Not from the cab, just from the dash coming at me. So this is going to be a little bit shady, so I apologize if there's some shadows in the picture as I'm driving. I'm going to be focusing forward, so bear with me if I'm not looking straight at you. The camera's, my phone is on a actual holder, so I'm hands-free. But I want to talk about kid spirits. And the reason I want to talk about kid spirits is because I've had a lot of strange things happen over the last, couple months. Now, if you've seen our videos, we just posted a new video to the YouTube channel today. That's for the bear with me here as I lose my train of thought. That's for the Bigfoot conference we went to in Jefferson, Texas. So, yeah, we had a great time. We met a lot of people. We had a great time talking to them and asking them questions. And as usual, I have more questions than I have answers. They couldn't answer my questions either. Seems like nobody can really answer the questions I have regarding Bigfoots. But we'll get to that on another podcast. Amanda is going to be coming on with me to the podcast. We were supposed to do it tonight, or actually yesterday night. It's actually almost 3 o'clock in the morning, but unfortunately I had to go to work, so that kind of stopped that from happening. So anyways, I just wanted to make sure I got a podcast out to you guys. I just want to share my thoughts on kid spirits. So, are kid spirits good? Are they bad? Should kid spirits not be here at all? Should they have, depending on your religious beliefs, should they have passed over? Should they just not be active at all? How many places have I encountered kid spirits? Where do I encounter kid spirits? Why do I have kid spirits in the house? There's a lot of questions that people ask me. So, we'll get to the haunted dolls in just a minute, and we'll talk about the little kids that are attached to them. But I want to start from kind of the beginning. If you've listened to, we have a lot of new listeners and a lot of new watchers on our YouTube and Rumble channel, and also on our podcast, audio podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for supporting our cause. Thank you for helping us out and downloading and liking this video. Liking and subscribing to our channels, whether you're on Rumble or YouTube or you're on our podcast. Do me a favor, give us a thumbs up if you like this podcast. I apologize for the shaky camera. These roads out here in Texas are not the best. And of course, it's just bouncing the camera all over the place. So, anyways, let's go back to the beginning here. For me, the encounters with child spirits started when I was a kid. And, a lot of people that have had encounters with kid spirits as kids, they're mainly playful, they're mainly fun, they're mainly, the spirit basically trying to get, some attention from another kid. For me, it wasn't that way. For me, it was more spooky and scary. It was almost like they seemed to just enjoy scaring me. And it just continued on all the way till basically we moved out of the house when I was about 10. From about 6 years old to about 10, I had a lot of encounters with little kid spirits. And for some reason, this road is just shaking the hell out of the car. So, yeah, you guys have heard me talk about when I had a bunk bed, and I used to sleep on the top bunk, and essentially the pillow would come out from under my head, and do like almost like a 180. It would go straight out and then always end up at the bottom of my ladder, which was on the side by my head. So it literally shoots straight out and then go around to the ladder. And then when I crawl down on my tummy to try and grab the pillow, a little girl, I would always hear a little girl's laugh. And it would get chugged back, which scared the living bejesus out of me. If you've seen the movie The Sixth Sense, that pretty much happened to me. Where the pillow, I had the tent fort, and essentially I had the bottom bunk turned out in an L shape, and I had a dresser that went into that L shape on the side wherever the bed was moved out of, and essentially I was able, I basically set up a fort using a sheet, and then I'd have a light on inside and stuff like that, and a shadow would go by out in the, out there, and it wasn't very tall. It was more like a kid size. So, anyways, apologize for the bouncing camera. I didn't realize that the camera was going to shake around so much as I drove. Otherwise, I would have probably just stayed in the parking lot. So I'll try and hold this with my hand. So if you're seeing my hand on the right side of the video, or the left side of the video, whatever way this is going to show, it's just my hand holding the camera to try and keep it somewhat balanced. Anyways, so yeah, so much for hands-free, right? Essentially, that happened a lot as a kid. So I can't hold the camera, guys. I apologize if it's shaking around. There's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, that's how, that was some of the encounters I had as a kid. As I got into my teens, I had more scary things happen. There weren't as many, child spirit encounters until I got into my 20s. And, the Queen Mary, we frequented the Queen Mary quite a bit, and there was a lot of kid spirits on the Queen Mary. They talk about the kid at the pool. I forget her name at this point in time. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been up almost 18, 19 hours now, so my brain's not working as clearly as it should. Anyways, so yeah, essentially Jackie, that was her name, Jackie at the pool. But there was a couple other kids that would frequent that area. So it's not just Jackie down there. Oh my gosh. Can we get a more bumpy road? Oh, I better not jinx myself here. Anyways, so yeah, Jackie, and there was 2 other little kids that would frequent down there. And then you had the 2 kids that got murdered in room B340, supposedly. There was another room where some kids were also murdered by their parents, by the dad, supposedly on the Queen Mary. He killed his wife, killed his kids, and then basically committed suicide on the ship. They don't like to talk about that. I don't even know if the Queen Mary is still open, to be honest with you. I've heard stories that it's closed, but who knows. For refurbishment, that ship is in bad shape, unfortunately. If they treated people better and would let people do the research on the ship and stuff, I would imagine that they wouldn't have all the issues with basically being bankrupt or whatever's going on with them. So yeah, let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So essentially, I ran a group called the California Ghost Hunters. We ran that forever, 10 plus years. We started off as the California Lake Forest Ghost Hunters, and we dropped the Lake Forest because we wanted to become more prominent, which we did. And essentially, we kind of became the team in California. There was 2 other top family member teams out there. And so we worked with them, we worked with TAPS, we worked with all kinds of other people, and we did a lot of investigations. We went in and out of homes a lot. I found that the moms seemed to have the best luck when it came to child spirits, real child spirits, not like demonic child spirits. and depending on what your beliefs are, again, this is, your beliefs. These are just my stories, so you can interpret them any way you want to. But please be, courteous to others if they make a comment or whatever. Because I love to hear your guys' stories about child spirits that you've encountered. So, anyways, we came across this one case in Brea, and there was a little girl that haunted this house amongst other spirits, and we've been there three or four times. And so I've talked about this before too, but I'm going to go back over it for the people that are new here and haven't heard this story. So essentially, we had covered these places like crazy. I mean, we had video cameras everywhere, we had DVR systems everywhere, DVR cameras basically feeding back to a DVR system. And all that is basically, if you've gone into a store or whatever, you see all those cameras, surveillance cameras, that's what it is. Essentially, it just records back to a hard drive, and then you can play it back later and rewatch it and see if you see anything. So we had 3 of those systems actually. We had a lot of cameras, and everybody had at least one Sony Handycam with night vision. We all had night vision. And I'll get into the theory of night vision and spirits later. Supposedly spirits can be seen on better with night vision for some reason. Anyways, we'll talk about that at another time. So we also put out audio recorders, right? Because we wanted to make sure if there was a sound, we could triangulate where that sound came from. So we put out, God, I don't know how many audio recorders we had out, but essentially I put my audio recorder in the bathroom. As you walked in, there was a sunken living room. Then you went up the stairs, like 4 or 5 steps, and there was a landing, master bedroom, master bathroom, and then you went up about 10 more steps, and there was another landing, and then all the bedrooms were upstairs. So there was, I think, 5 audio recorders or something like that within, 10 feet of each other, and we would do something called settling. And what settling is basically leaving the cameras, leaving the audio, leaving gear out in places strategically, so that if something lit up like a K2, or there was noises, footsteps, knocking, walking, anything happening, cupboards opening, anything paranormal happening, we would hopefully document it while there was nobody in the house. And the whole theory behind that is basically that if you can document activity in a controlled environment like that and there's nobody there, then maybe you have something paranormal, right? Because there's no outside influence. So essentially that was our plan, what we did. That was part of our TAPS family member training. That's what they told us to do. Let the place settle for an hour, go grab dinner, go grab a snack, go grab a coffee, something. Just let it sit and then come back and then start your investigation. And that meant basically come back and start debunking anything and everything you can figure out that could be caused, the causes of what the client was essentially claiming. Anywho, so I'm on the landing, the first landing up to by the master bedroom, and we're just finishing setting out cameras and stuff like that, and I had, I think, 4 other people with me, and I think they were mainly females. So I said out, are you girls ready to go? No. I said, where are you? And this response, this little girl's, I didn't hear it, never heard it, came from right behind me, I guess, right? So, and that response is really important, by the way, and I'll explain why in a second. But anyways, so that response was behind you, essentially in a little girl's voice. Now, she wasn't a little girl. I'm guessing she was probably, between 8 and probably 12 or 13. She was possibly, on the verge of becoming a teenager. I can't remember exactly what they said, what the police said, and I'll get into that in a second. But they got caught on 5 recorders. And the one on the top and landing was a little, was just barely there. We could barely hear it. The one in the bathroom, you could really hear it. The one in the bedroom, which was about 3 feet away, it was just a little less loud. And then there was one on the railing at the bottom of the stairs, and that was a little bit less as well. And I think there was one on the stairs about halfway up. For some reason, we had a bunch of audio recorders all cluttered in one spot because we had so many, we just couldn't figure out where to put them all. Anyways, so we triangulated it and we figured out it was right behind me. So we played it for the client, and she's like, "Wow, yeah, that's that little girl that we heard of." So long story short, they had a plumber come over because they were having some plumbing issues in the master bathroom, which is right outside of where we got that AVP. They had to crawl under the house, which there's a space right underneath the master bathroom, and they found bones of a little girl. So the police were called. They investigated it. She had been murdered and buried under the house. So they did, of course, more searches for more bodies and didn't find anything. But at least they were able to give her peace, and we were hoping that she was at peace after that. We did go back one more time, but we never heard back from her. So I'm hoping she's at peace. Hopefully she's at rest. Hopefully she moved on. She's got closure, which was amazing. I mean, it's just awesome when that kind of thing happens on an investigation. It's getting a little long, so I better get to my other stories. I've never been into haunted dolls or haunted objects. I've always kept them away. Anytime. Oh, let me tell another quick story here. So we had another client, and she had a daughter. I'm not going to give out names, but she was, when I first met her, she was like 8 or 9 years old, and she had dolls, right? She's a typical little girl, very nice little young lady. And so we were in her room. I was actually sitting in her bathroom on the stool looking into the bedroom, and another 2 investigators, one was on the bed, one was sitting on a stool or some kind of furniture right in front of where her toy bin was. And this is a negative type haunt thing. This is where something negative somehow attached itself to this doll. Now, I don't know where she got this. I don't know if she purchased it brand new and something negative somehow attached itself to this doll. I severely doubt this young lady was doing anything negative to get this thing attached to this doll. And in fact, it scared the living bejesus out of her. She's a sensitive young lady. Her mom's also sensitive, which always makes for an interesting investigation. Went over there several times. This time, I was sitting on the toilet, and all of a sudden, I just see this very tall, black silhouette appear behind the investigator that I'm looking at, because we're in the middle of doing an EVP session. And then after the EVP session, I walked over there, started going through the area, trying to figure out what it was. I picked that doll up, and it's like, nope, So I had the client actually dispose of it. She wanted me to take it, but at that point in time, I didn't want something negative in my house. I don't know what would have happened, the clashing that would have happened between the spirits I had in my house and whatever that thing was. I'm not going to get into that too much. But anyways, so yeah, that's the instance of a negative haunted object. So I think she ended up just tossing the doll in the trash because they moved. And the daughter was very upset, and it sucked that happened, but there was nothing we could do. So, continuing to talk about the haunted dolls. All right, so recently, last year, I'm at the point where I've done so much research with ghosts, and I live with them, and I experience them all the time. I'm to the point where I can kind of tell if something has, let's just say, energy. If an entity has like an attachment or whatever, I just get a feeling. I've been doing this so long that I just kind of know. I've lived with this my whole life, but now I've been doing the research so long with ghosts that I can walk in and tell you basically where the activity's happening, what's happening in each location, and I'm not by any way means a psychic or a medium or anything. I'm just, as Amanda says, I'm haunted. Unfortunately, it's both a blessing and a curse. So anyways, essentially, I decided to start collecting haunted dolls. We already have haunted objects. I've gone through those multiple times in podcasts and other videos. You guys are welcome to dive back down through the podcasts or some of our videos and look for that. Bear with me, I'm just pulling into the house now. So let me put this in park and we'll have a little bit more stable situation here. Alright, so sorry for saying so much. I'm in the process of processing thoughts. I decided to start collecting dolls. And I picked up my first one and I went, oh, that's pretty interesting. We went through, I didn't want brand new dolls like in a package. I was looking for dolls that had been played with or that had some kind of energy where somebody had really loved these dolls. I wanted something with a positive energy to it. And by energy, I just mean, so I can take something, like I can take this water bottle, and I can put like a whole lot of positive energy into it, and be so thankful that I have this water, and just leave a positive energy to it, right? I can attach emotion, I can attach a lot of things to this bottle of water. And somebody who maybe is sensitive or psychic or just, can feel things, whatever, might pick this bottle up later and go, wow, somebody really enjoyed this bottle, right? They really enjoyed drinking this water. So, essentially, that's pretty much what I was looking for on a doll. Something that had been loved and well cared for, and something that was nurtured and stuff like that. And I didn't know dolls are they're not real. I know they're not real, and I know that essentially they're just a toy, right? But kids put a lot of energy into these toys. They have make-believe sessions with these toys. They have, I know as a kid, I played with Legos, and I put a lot of energy into those. So imagine, if somebody picked up my Legos, they'd probably go, yeah, this kid really enjoyed these Legos. Anyways, that energy stays with an item. In haunted locations, let's just say, there was something terrible happened. I'm not going to go into, the specifics, but somebody lost their life there in a tragic way. That energy is going to be, left there. Maybe there's no haunting there, but you're still going to, some people can walk in and pick up on that. You can feel, okay, something happened here. Something bad happened here, if you will. So, again, that's what I was looking for. I wanted to pick these dolls up, and I wanted to feel what energy they had. Now, I picked up a few and went, no, this isn't, no, And, there was a couple I picked up. We went to garage sales. We went to, where did we go? We went to thrift stores, Goodwill, places like that. And I just kind of sorted through. I looked for the older dolls. I was looking for porcelain ones, but I couldn't find a lot of those. Those are really expensive. The one doll that has the hat, if you've seen the videos, in fact, on Rumble, I just had to copy and paste that video over there with the haunted dolls, where basically I was changing the batteries on the spirit box, and all of a sudden a bunch of voices, little kids' voices came through, And so I started having a session with them. In fact, that's overdue. I've got to sit down and have another spirit box session with them. As I was getting ready for the uh, old haunted jail investigation, that's when that happened. And yeah, you guys. Oh, let me side note here. Let me sidetrack myself for a second here. So if you're going, hey Matt, you're talking about all these investigations, but nothing's come up yet. We're still recording these places. We're still going back to these locations. I think what I might do, especially with like the old Huntsville jail, which is the Cat Cafe. If you've never been to the Cat Cafe and you live in Huntsville, I would highly recommend you go get a coffee there. It's really, really good. And they have bakery stuff. It's awesome. Great place. Family run. They're extremely awesome people. Really, really nice people. So if you go over there, tell them Matt and Amanda say hi. Anyways, so yeah, we will be posting those videos shortly. I think what I'm going to do, for some of them, we might have a series like with the old Cat Cafe jail. I think there's just so much content. I think I've got like 200 hours of content from there. And so making that into one show, or maybe even 2 or 3 shows, is probably what's going to end up happening with that. We're going to probably have part 1, part 2, part 3. And then like for the Bigfoot stuff, we've been in the Sam Houston National Forest. Again, that will probably be a series where you're going to see multiple videos from there, because we're just starting to figure out where they're at. And of course, with the changing of weather and the systems coming in where it's now starting to get cold, they're going to move. They're going to change course. We have to figure out where they're going now, and that's a huge area to try and figure out. But we've had some luck with them. I won't go into the last encounter. Anyways, let me get back to the haunted dolls. I've sidetracked enough. So yeah, the haunted dolls. I can't remember if there's 6 of them. I think there's 6 dolls. And when I was doing the spirit box session, if you haven't seen this video, you might want to pause this and go watch that real quick. It's on our YouTube. Now it's also on the Rumble channel. I asked, how many of the dolls have attachments, and I think it said 5. So, and I started to get names. I can't remember the names. I should have, normally when I review that kind of stuff, I go back and I write things down as I hear them, so I can kind of remember later on, oh, this one said this one said that, I heard this voice, I heard that voice, and so I can kind of sort out who I'm talking to and what we talked about and stuff like that, so I can use that in future communication with the so-called child spirits. Anyways, we had a long conversation, 10 minutes wise, and then all of a sudden a male entity cut in, and I believe that's a spirit from one of the spirits. It seems to be a German male entity, and if you don't know Texas, this area of Texas, College Station, Bryan, in this area, Houston area, had a lot of German immigrants back in the day, and they did a lot of settling in this area. So it makes sense that he's coming through. I was trying to only communicate with the kids, but since then, let's see, I've had a little girl. I walked in around this time in the morning. It's 3:15 in the morning right now. I walked in basically to say hi to the dogs. I was in the bedroom, and I walked in, and I hear this little girl's voice to my left say, "Hello." I'm like, what? I looked, I thought I was expecting to see Amanda's niece, Kaylee, there, and there was nobody there. Speaking of Kaylee, she was going to the bathroom, which is up by our office, walking into the hallway. She turned and looked into the office, which is our front bedroom, and a little girl said something to her. Her face just went blank. She just, came over and sat down really quickly next to us. So that's happened. a lot of mischievous things have been happening. Things like getting moved around. I'll leave something in the office, and I'll come back and I'll find it somewhere else. Like the box for the mic I'm using with my phone here, it went missing for about 4 or 5 days. I was looking all over the place. I thought I left it in the car. I was looking through the office. I had to go move some stuff around in the pantry, and guess where I find the box? It's in the back corner of the pantry. So I know I didn't put it there, and I know Amanda didn't put it there, so it had to be one of the kids. I see, you guys, if you've seen our video podcast, you've seen the little shadow that was coming around the corner by the light switch between the bathroom and the office. And then I see a little girl sometimes like cruising around in our bedroom, especially when she thinks we're asleep. And then sometimes she'll talk to Amanda. Now, Amanda's not psychic or medium or anything. She's more of a clairvoyant, and she communicates with spirits in her sleep. And so essentially, I hate when this happens. Oh, that brings up another little girl. But when we used to live in Lake Forest in California, let me backtrack just for a second here. Bear with me. There was a little girl. She had blonde hair down to about her shoulders, kind of curled out at the end. And then she wore a blue dress with a white bonnet, and she had the knee-high socks, white socks, and the baby doll shoes, right? I'd seen her multiple times, and people in my complex where we lived had seen her multiple times too. It wasn't a complex. It wasn't like an apartment complex. It was a housing community, and people in that housing community had seen her. I'm pretty sure she was maybe the farmer's daughter. Where the homes were built, there used to be a farm there, and I also saw a little boy. By the way, I can still see him to this day in my head. He was there and he was gone, but that's another story. He wasn't, Well, let me tell that story real quick. So I just walked in, and I knew I was alone. And coming down the hallway, I got up to walk towards the hallway. I went into the first bedroom because we have foster kids. Came walking out, and all of a sudden there's this little boy standing there, and he's got to be 5 or 6. Cutest little kid. He looked like an Irish boy. He had blue overalls on and a shirt, and then basically like boots, and he, the pale white skin with the freckles all over his face, red curly hair, and he didn't look up or anything. He was kind of just looking straight ahead, and he was only about maybe 4 feet tall. And essentially, I walked out and I looked to my right, and there he was. He scared the lip. I'm like, what the hell? And he was solid. I mean, there was no transparency. He was a solid. I thought he was a little kid. I thought he snuck into the house. I literally looked down and went, whoa. I went, whoa. I basically looked, and I saw him, and I started to turn to the left, and I realized what I just seen. I went, oh. Turned around, he was gone. I mean, just gone. And so, yeah, that kind of freaked me out. But the little girl, she would visit us, especially at night. She would go over and have a conversation with Amanda while she was sleeping. I'd wake up to, her talking to this little munchkin voice, like a little girl's voice. As soon as the little girl would see me, she'd see that I was awake looking at her. She'd come around my side of the bed. I'd always be like, no. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you. Because I was trying to sleep and I didn't want to be bothered. She wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form. None of the spirits, except for the one shadowy thingy I told you about at that one case. None of this was bad. None of it's bad. None of these little kids in here that are attached to these dolls are not bad in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I picked each individual doll up, and I could tell, nope, there's nothing bad here. I picked up some dolls. I went, there's a little bit of ill intent here, and so unfortunately I put them back. Would I like to have had them? Under the right circumstances, if I could have put them in a secluded area where I know they couldn't do any harm, yes, I mean, not to say that those dolls were malevolent or Annabelle style thing. If you know what Annabelle is, she's just a really nasty, negative entity that's attached to a doll. I think Zach Baggins has her now. So, but anyways, the Warrens had her for years to protect everybody else from her, and now Zach has her. But anyways, this was not at that level, I don't think. I only came across two that seemed to have like, malevolent kind of energy. And when I say malevolent, I just mean essentially probably would have caused problems. Let's just put it that way. So I put those back, and hopefully they found a good home with somebody that can actually take care of them or whatever. But all right. So, anyways, getting back to the little girl that I was talking about. So one night I wake up to, her literally standing there. She's solid. I mean, she looks just like us. I mean, and she's sitting there and she has my cross in her hand, and she's just admiring my cross. I think she was humming. And she was just going like this with my cross back and forth, kind of like this. Of course, she was standing in front of me. And then I opened my eyes. I didn't make any noise. I just kind of looked at her. I went, I'm like, okay, am I dreaming? And then she went, she dropped my cross and disappeared. Literally just disappeared. Like I wasn't supposed to see her. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of encounters with little kids. And I've had a lot of other paranormal investigators on the teams over the years that have had a lot of encounters with them. Also, the place that we're going, Normandy Inn, has two little kids. Last time we were actually able to play hide and go seek with them, and they were fun. They were playing around with us. If you watch the Normandy Inn investigation, you'll see what I believe to be an apparition, and I believe that's also who closed the door when Aaron walked by. I think they were hiding in the closet, which, I don't know why they were doing that, but also before the end of the video, and I'm not going to give this away if you have not seen this video, you see two little heads bob by the front door while I'm standing there dictating at the end of the video. If you really watch carefully, you'll see two little heads like bob by. But yeah, we kept seeing them. Like, we were on the second level, and we know a little girl was killed in the house, and then at the Normandy Inn, or the former Normandy Inn, because it had so many other different. It became so many different things over the years. But essentially, and I've talked about this multiple times. I apologize if you're going, okay, he's already talked about this 100 times, but there was a gas furnace that exploded. She was sitting on the second the second level bathroom when that exploded, and basically killed her instantly, we hope. And there's a story of, one of the little kids essentially dying of a childhood illness in the house. Also, I know that it was a retirement community at one point. It was apartments at another point. I've heard that there's a lot of rumors about the Normandy Inn, besides being the gateway to hell, which it's not. I don't believe it is. I don't think there's anything negative with this house at all, but people, like to tell the story like it is. I think it was an orphanage at one point in time too, in its history. This house was built in 1903. And it's been dormant since, 2012, 2011, since that last hurricane flooded the area of Galveston, the island of Galveston, when it was underwater, 10 feet or 8 feet or whatever it was. So, anyways, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. Again, if you'll do me a favor, just give us a thumbs up down there if you like this podcast. Subscribe to our channels, either YouTube or Rumble or both, and we will catch you on the next one. Oh, before I go, yeah, if you guys want to share your stories, feel free to comment down below. If you don't feel comfortable leaving a message in the comments down below, you can go to our email. All this is listed in the description. My email, my cell phone's there. You can text me. Again, I'd love to hear your story. If you want to come on the podcast and talk to us about your haunted location and your encounters with little kids, we'd love to hear from you. Again, there's no judgment here. And, again, this is just a place for people to talk about their stories. So, anyways, again, thank you guys so much for watching and listening and subscribing and sharing this with your friends and family on social media. We appreciate you. And again, we will catch you on the next one.